What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Smart Flip, the Phone Flippers podcast. Guys, today we have on a very special guest, somebody that I've known for a long time, and he's been following my YouTube channel forever at this point. And I wanted to bring him on because he's absolutely crushing it, and it's kind of been under the radar. I didn't realize, the kind of numbers you were stacking up for quite a while, actually. Um, we had never actually like met, right? So, um, with that being said, we're gonna kick this thing off. And if you guys are, looking to start, grow, or scale your phone flipping or buyback business, definitely check out all the good details and stuff that's in the description of YouTube because that's where we're on right now. But guys, our guest today is Brandon. Brandon's been flipping phones and electronics for how long have you been flipping stuff, dude? Like
It's like since I was 13.
since you were 30.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and you now have a store, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and how old are you, dude? I always forget it. I know you're in your early 20s.
I'm 19 right now.
Oh, well, I was wrong. Okay. All right, he's 19.
That's it. Interview's over. Like, we got all we need. Like, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's it. Just cut the call. All right, cool. Dude, it's amazing to me. Like, I never knew how old you were because I never actually, you don't have like a real profile photo, So
Yeah.
you're very incognito about everything. And I'm glad to have you on here because it's going to shed some light on some things. And I'm excited. So let's start there though. You started flipping stuff at 13 years old. Like, let's start there. How did you get into this space, dude?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to find a way to make money. Um, you know, uh, my parents had sent me back to Kenya when I was younger, so I kind of got to see I guess the other side of things. Um, I was born in Kenya, but to be sent back after living in America was a completely different experience.
Mm.
It made me feel I was way more grateful when I came back.
Mm.
It, it just showed me how much I was missing out by not being in America. Like it's different to see it on TV and see documentaries about it, but when your neighbor is like herding cows and can't go to school because he can't afford the school fees and electricity is being cut every like 2 3 days, it's it resonates much more. So whenever I came back to America, I knew I had to do something. I knew how to I had to make some sort of money, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I came, that was my first thing. I had YouTube and I searched up how to make money. And I had to weed out through a bunch of scams, and
Well,
eventually I
what were
found.
some of the scams? I'm kind of curious about that. Like you came back from Kenya, I
Yeah.
try to put myself in that kind of position. Is like, look, I try to tell people the same thing. Like, look, we live in America. There is no shortage of opportunities. You can rent a car, do Uber while you try to get a side hustle rolling on the side. Like, that's a real thing. And to hear it, like, I've never experienced that, but you have, and it's nice to hear it from that part where you don't have electricity for a few days, and like things like that. That's wild. So you knew when you came back, you started getting on YouTube. What were some of the opportunities you were looking into, like to make
Mhm.
money?
Man, this was probably back in like 2017. So this is just when the the make money online space was really starting to take off. Like this is back when Ty Lopez here in my garage ad was
The one that broke the internet, yeah.
and broke the end. Like he was everywhere at this time.
Yeah.
So making money online was really kind of it was just starting taking off. I wouldn't say a new phenomenon, but it was just starting to reach the mainstream consciousness.
Yeah.
Um, so it was drop shipping. Forex wasn't super super big at the time, but there were still people trying to peddle it. Um, Bitcoin, this is probably back when Bitcoin was 10, 8,000, 7,000, 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just it was really everything to anything online, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, a little bit of Forex, a little bit of Bitcoin. But really the main ones were affiliate marketing and drop shipping.
Yeah. I signed up for ClickBank back in 2016.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. I tried, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You learn stuff the hard way, right? So
Mm.
Yeah. No, I had an old Shopify store and I was doing influencer marketing. And what I would do is I'd find these French influencers, these these I guess reality TV stars, you can call them. I wouldn't say stars, but reality TV personalities.
Yeah.
And I would pay them. I used to use what was it, Zero or something? It was basically like a European version of PayPal, and I'd pay them and they'd promote my product. And I made a couple thousand that way when I was like 11 or 12 drop shipping.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. So you're searching around online to find ways to make money. How do you find phone flipping? Like how does that kind of segue into things?
I never really, let me see, let me think. It really just came to be. I was always on YouTube trying to find ways to make money. And then one day I saw this guy called David Kosciuszko.
Yeah.
And even in
Grandfather
2017,
phone flipping, yeah.
the father of phone flipping, man. But I gotta say,
The OG.
the OG, all love to David. But man, even back in 2017, his stuff just looked outdated and looked just a little bit fishy, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I kept watching his videos and I'm like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like,
Yeah.
he
I did
he
the same
knows,
thing.
yeah. And he knows what he sounds like a genuine guy. And I tried some of his free videos and they were working. Like I was messaging like 50, 100 people on OfferUp every day and getting leads, closing deals.
Nice.
And eventually I just decided, I was like, hey, this is like right after PayPal had held my money from drop shipping. I lost like about 8, 10,000. Um, I was down like my last 1,200. And I spent 1,000 of it on David Kosciuszko's course. I financed it too.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, listen, if he doesn't make me what he's promising, I'm just not going to pay the rest of the finance.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was $350 a month, I think. Huh?
Yeah. Like he called
that's
me.
what it
Like,
was.
yeah, exactly.
Did he call you too?
Yeah, he called me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he called me, man. Like that's why I call everybody that joins my programs now. It's because I remember that. As soon as I bought that program, like he called me and I was like, yo, is this real? Like
Yeah.
Is this Dave the OG?
I was like, whoa, okay. So this is a real thing. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bought his course, you financed, you did the same thing I did. Probably did that, 2017?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
That was when I did it too. So we started roughly around the same time. So from there, you join that, you start moving up, and obviously we're seeing each other in the community at the same time, probably on the same calls every Wednesday or whatever, or Tuesdays.
Yep. It was always you and Goldstein and Kripe.
Yeah, I mean, I was always there, man. Like every call, I had to be there. Like, what's crazy though is like now that I am like a program owner, it's so interesting because I see the same thing. Like me and Matt, we see the same guys every single week showing up without fail, and we know they're gonna crush it.
Yeah.
On a long enough time horizon. We got the Jerome, we got, I mean, just same people every week. Same. What do you think, Matt? Like 4 to 5 people? Like just
I'd probably say it's a steady flow of anywhere from like 5 to 8 consistent people that are here for a marketing call, a console call, a negotiation call, and ad audit call or whatever it might be. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing is like they understand they've committed to the long game and they know that skills are things that you can pivot in any market in any place and use and make money. And I'm guessing probably, Brandon, it's interesting, I think, that despite the quality of the content that Dave was producing, you noticed the sincerity, you noticed the he had the like authority on that specific angle of the market. Like, I don't think of myself as the authority on consoles, but for a lot of people, I am, because for me, I'm still learning. But like for Chris, authority on ad space, and now you've kind of cultivated your own really deep understanding of this process. And so I think that that's really rad, like that a course like that could win you over and then get you dialed in to doing business on the level and scale that you're doing it now.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I like how you said about him seeming genuine and him seeming like an authoritative figure. He knew what he was talking about. I think a lot of the content I see these days are people who are the exact opposite of David Kosciuszko. They have the fancy video, they have the high quality, high resolution cameras. You know, they
Mhm.
have the big house, they're flexing. But then you look at what their content is, it's just noise, it's just fluff.
Yep.
Mm,
Dude, it's
that's a
crazy.
solid point.
My videos are still like that to this day. Like I remember it because that's the kind of content that drew me in was
Yeah.
just the real, and that's probably why you watch the channel too, huh, Brandon? It's like it's just because I'm like, here's the whiteboard, here's what I do, this thing works, try it out.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing fancy, there's nothing like crazy or super edited. Like I'm just like, here's the thing, it works. Like I've tried it already, kind of stuff. And with and that's kind of the whole premise of what we do is like I'll spend my money first to make sure it works. That way nobody else has to fail forward. I mean you did. I mean
Mm.
you paid me a while back to help you train your guys. Um, I mean you still getting an ROI from that?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think what was good about that is it kind of it's different when I'm telling them, it's much more like I'm their boss telling them how to do it. But when you came in, you tell them, it's much more like this is a trained professional who's coming in and showing us how to do everything, you
Mhm.
know. And that's not to say that they don't view me as a trained professional. It's just it's a different sort of it's a different sort of angle, like from the way they view you versus the way they view me. You know, they see your plaques in the back, they search you up online and they see, okay, yeah, this guy's a creditor. This guy knows what he's talking about, you know. And then they do what you're saying for a week and they see the results. So it definitely helped for sure.
Talk less, make more offers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it was
Good
just
stuff,
nice and simple. Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It's
So
different when you can help employees or your help like get a holistic view and perspective on an industry because if they can borrow your eyes and see things the way that you see them, they're going to do their whatever their role is like so much better and more dynamically. Um, and I always appreciate when that happens, like in any role or setting I was ever in.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
one of the most undervalued things is, and still to this day, we were talking about Kosciuszko. Like, I still remember to this day him and Aaron Goldstein basically like negotiation sparring, like on a call. I remember that, and now that's like a really integral part of like how I teach people. It's like, look, you're gonna you're gonna call me. We're gonna go ring ring, and I'm gonna answer the phone, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna close you. Like, and I think that's the most genuine way to teach people is
Mhm.
like, let me just show you how I'm gonna close you right now.
Mm,
If
right.
you
Yeah.
don't want to sell me your phone, you're gonna sell me your laptop or your whatever. And so I think that's a big part of it. And you have been in this space for a good while now, since 2017. So you've seen. I want to ask about this since you are longevity wise, um, what 7, 8 years now. So I want to talk about industry like changes that you've seen over time because I see this all the time, right? I have people reaching out all the time, like, what if we can't buy iPhones next year? It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Mm.
what are some things that you've seen change over the years that like that you thought in the beginning might affect how you make money, and then what do you think now?
When it really comes down to it, just adapting and evolving. You know, if you're doing the same thing every year, I mean, you want to be doing the same thing every year, but you still want to be finding new ways to improve and new ways to better yourself. As for things that I've seen change, I mean, back in 2017, it was a completely different landscape. Like, no one was running ads. No one even knew what phone flipping really wasn't even a term yet.
Mhm.
Like, you couldn't search up phone flipping. If you did, it was two guys. It was David and then another David.
Yeah, I know.
I think I remember that.
You know, so it was, I hate to use this term, but it wasn't saturated, at least compared to how it is now. Nowadays, you can go on TikTok and there's 17-year-old kids who've bought two phones on Marketplace posting about how to make 100,000 a month phone flipping, you know? There's way more competition now. I mean, back in 2018, 2019, I was spending $10 on Facebook ads and getting 20 leads.
I know it was wild, dude.
I would spend $100 a week on ads, make $2,000, and then just like I was literally meeting people at Starbucks, finishing high school, go meet up at Starbucks, spend a hundred
Man,
dollars on Facebook ads, make $2,000,
man.
you know? So the market is just getting way more competitive, at
Mhm.
least in terms of the local buybacks. It's getting way more competitive. The barrier to entry is getting way higher. The learning is getting steeper because more people are now aware of phones. More people are aware of SIG-W. More people are aware of Atlas Mobile. More competition. People are offering higher prices. Ad cost is higher.
Yeah.
So I think anyone who's trying to get into it really should have got into it. I mean, there's that famous quote: "The best time was yesterday. The second best time is now."
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I mean, so that there goes twofold, right? Like with the barrier of entry going up, that means less people are going to get in it. It's therefore less competition, right? Like people figure out, okay, it's going to cost me $3 to get ads whenever they were doing it a few years ago, and they were like, oh man, I'm getting leads for like $1, and then they quit, and then now they try to get back into it, and then they stop altogether, and it's like, that just leaves more room for the people that are actually hungry, right? Like one of the ways that I like to really put this is like Google My Business. Like it's become much more difficult to get verified there. And like I actually see that as an opportunity for the people that are actually serious, right? Like go get your LLC, get verified on Google, and like that's the one you don't have. Let's be real, like you don't have any competition for phone flipping on Google for the most part. All you have is the buyback websites for the most part, and that's it. But most of the time, the people don't want to sell to those websites. They want somebody locally. They want cash today. I literally had a dude yesterday sell me a phone. He's like, "Hey, this, it's worth more." Offered me 250, and I'm like, "Dang, dude, that's awesome. Send it in. Get cash in 2 weeks." And he was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, I can cash you out for 150 today." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, and then he sold me the phone. So like,
Of course you did.
yeah, I mean, if we really break down this business, I mean, let's be real. It's just how many eyeballs can you get on your business? How many of those eyeballs can you keep on your business? How many repeat customers can you build up over the next couple of years? I mean, Brandon, how you buy from other resellers in Dallas, right? So I think one of our students actually sells to you,
Okay.
or two of them. I'm not sure.
Right on.
We
That's
got like
awesome.
4 or 5 students in Dallas, and they're all crushing. So it's so like, and I mean that's another thing there too is like collaboration on top of that. Like the guys that are winning are always collaborating. Like I think Ricky sells to you, so like you guys are always buying and selling or whatever. And then me and Tyler, we collaborate. Like he lives 45 minutes from me. Like if I'm closer to a deal, he sends it to me. So but kind of backing up there, so you started everything in 2017. What did you make your first year flipping devices?
That's a good question.
Roundabout.
Yeah. My first year I didn't make much, but my first year I didn't really. To me, it was a lot of money, given my circumstance. But I probably made maybe 3,000.
Yeah, very first year. Yeah, side
Yeah.
hustle money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing to me. I thought I was like the richest man in Arlington, Dallas.
Well, you were in high school though, yeah?
I think I was just leaving middle school or just entering high school. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what, you're like 14, 15?
Yeah, you're right. I was definitely in high school, like ninth grade. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because
So
that
when
would feel
you started
significant. That would.
once
Yeah.
you started taking it seriously though, like after like getting Dave's course and everything, um, what happened then? Like when you started taking this business seriously?
You know, I never really saw this as an actual business for a very long time, and honest, probably till it wasn't probably until maybe like 2 years ago that I really, or maybe a year ago that I really started seeing this is how I'm gonna make my money. This is what's gonna make me, this is what's gonna make me rich. Um, I always just viewed the business as a stepping stone because I still wanted to get back into e-commerce and doing the drop shipping and having
Mhm.
a, because that's just what was sold to me. I grew up in that era of the Ty Lopez's and the Sebastian Gorgies and all those people. But when I did take it, I I think the main reason that I am where I am is because I stayed consistent either way. You know, I avoided the shiny object syndrome and and yeah, when I did take it consistent, I mean, I just saw my numbers go up. I started posting more ads, doing more reach outs, and
Mm.
Yeah, that's where it's at, dude. I mean, like, I don't like a lot of people don't see this business, or I mean, everybody sees this as a side hustle starting off. Like, that's one thing I've noticed is like that's the commonality is like everybody sees it as a side hustle, not as a business, and then it's almost like they fall into creating a business out of it. Like, and it's like, oh crap, I made 60 grand this year flipping phones, MacBooks, iPads, whatever. I should probably look into taking this more seriously. Like, you know, so so fast forward to where you are now. You got a storefront. Um, how are things different now since moving into an actual business?
um, you know, when it comes to having a store, it really just allowed us to operate on a much larger scale. Um, when it came to how we were doing it before, it just got way too jumbled up and way too confusing. But when you have a store, when you have a business establishment, one, you're viewed as a much more authoritative figure. Um, which I'm not saying it's impossible to be viewed as an authoritative figure at Starbucks, but it's different when you're walking to a Starbucks and meeting someone, and it's different when you're walking into Spirit Wireless and we have our logo and
Yeah.
the place looks good, it smells good. We say hello to you, you're welcome. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It just allowed us to operate on a much larger scale. We can buy way more phones, we can sell way more phones, and we expanded our offers too. We don't just buy phones now too. We can sell phones in the street. We do in-store financing. Um, it just it made having a store made me feel it makes me feel like I'm running an actual business,
Mhm.
like I'm kind of elevated. Um,
Hey, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's really cool. And then you got employees and everything now too. So, I mean, that's how is that? Like, I know you're 19 years old, like, and you got employees at your store. How is that? I mean, we obviously have like I have employees through Upwork and different things like that. So like contractors, right? But I don't have actual employees. So what's that like?
When it comes to hiring employees, I mean, to be honest, and just managing employees, it's probably not my greatest strong suit right now. I'm trying to work on that. Um,
You're 19, dude. You're gonna
it,
learn. You got plenty of time to learn for sure.
yeah, man, it's hard, because a lot of the time what it comes down to is when you have employees, they view you, they they respect you and they look up to you. And what I've learned is that, when you're in that kind of position, your words matter. Um, and I'm kind of struggling right now with kind of like just maintaining my ego and, you know, being respectful because there'll be things that are going on. Maybe a vendor isn't paying my invoice. Someone owes me 20, 30, 50 grand, right? They're not paying it up. And I'll release that anger on my employees. Like, let's say they mess up a phone, and I'll be like, "What's wrong with you? Why did you do that?" You know? Um, and and it's not necessarily deserved. That action didn't warrant that response, or maybe I take too long to pay them. So having employees just showed me how important it is to really just not have an ego and controlling your emotions. It's something I'm still working on.
So what you're saying is it's humbling.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Go ahead.
and and let me know if I'm yapping or if I need to just.
No, dude, this is good stuff. I mean, there's people that want this, and then there's people that don't, right? I mean, whenever you have like employees or contractors that work for you, it's important to like have a like a company culture, right? Like for Recelerator, we have that. I mean, me and Matt, we do calls every single week. We kind of
Yeah.
maintain where each other is at. I'm always trying to make sure Matt's where he wants to be, like like you want to be here, like kind of stuff, and that's kind of the idea of it is like just create a culture that they want or that they would want to be in, I guess. A lot of that is actually what I found is dude, people want to learn from you more than anything, you know? Like, uh, if you really look at like somebody who takes um an employment opportunity, if they're serious about anything, they're there for two reasons. They're there obviously number one to get paid, but then they want growth. Most people. Well, I can't even say most people, some people. Some people are just there for the money. Other people are there to number one, get the money and then also like learn and implement and just become better versions of themselves. And if you can help facilitate that, like, dude, you'll have people forever. You know,
Mm.
it's hard to, you know, and Matt, you might be able to chime in on this. I mean, as part of my company, like,
Mhm.
feel like you're learning and growing and
Yeah, I mean, well, Chris brought me on board because he wanted, I think, for a couple of reasons. Chris is a voracious learner. I've kind of gathered the same about you, Brandon. I find that most of the people that are pretty proactive in this industry or have a very strong entrepreneurial itch um, are self-learners, strong self-learners, right? They have an aptitude to absorb content, and their brain's always buzzing with like what's that next thing, and what they're trying to grow in. And so with with being kind of on the inside edge of Chris, I've discovered that Chris is always teaching himself, and I imagine that you're probably doing the same. But also, when you decide to build out your own business, you have to absorb all the problems that come with the growing aspect of an industry, um, having employees like now, or if let's say it's September and iPhones are no longer um, the 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 hot thing that they once were because the new phone dropped. Now you've got to figure out how to pivot through that adjustment every fall or with any kind of product release, honestly. Um, so the cool thing is for me, like being kind of connected with what Chris has established, is that I get to see the inside edge of how Chris handles that. I also get to cultivate my own responses to that. And I think it's like a fantastic like learning opportunity to grow my own skills. I feel like there were things that, and you could probably speak to this, Chris. There were things that I was able to bring to the table, but there were also things that you brought to the table, and I think there was a bond of mutual respect that created, um, that has given us like a, kind of sharpening one another like process. I feel like every day, almost every day, we probably talk almost every day. Um, or yeah, I'm pretty sure we talk every day,
yep,
even like
yep.
on
We're always checking
even
on.
like on weekends. Like I think Chris maybe talks to his wife and then like me. Like
Yeah, I won't lie. Like it's either you, Aaron, or my wife.
right.
Like it's I got my own little circle,
Yeah.
and then I got like the Hayden Howards and people like
Right.
that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, managing people is definitely different. But what I've found is like, luckily, I've had some really good mentors on this, and they were like, dude, just hire people smarter than you. Like they'll have better ideas than you most of the time, especially like if they're a master in their own skill set,
Mhm.
you want to hire them. Like you don't want to be the smartest person in the room by far. That's why I'm always like bouncing ideas off of Matt because I really respect, his what the knowledge he has. So I mean, when it comes to employees, you want to find people, that are usually smarter than you in their respective fields. You don't want to know everything because then you just have to end up teaching everything, which sucks. Like, so
Dude, that's a grind and a half right there. So Brandon, I had a question for you. I just find it wonderful and also massively curious that here you are, um, 19 years old. You're you're like very determinedly can say, bro, I'm doing six figures as a reseller. Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, cool. I love the confidence. But there's a what I respect here is a few things that I'm just sort of feeling. Like there's a maturation to who you are as a person. Like there's a maturity you're bringing to the table that I feel exceeds. I taught students for like 20 years, bro. Okay, so I've been in the halls and classrooms of high school like since I was in high school almost. And
Yeah.
so like, um, what do you feel like? What aspects of this industry you feel like really like stretched your character to help you maybe like get it, because some people might look at you and say, I was watching a documentary last night about the Brat Pack. If you guys don't remember the Brat Pack, it was like a group of, young actors in their early 20s back in like the mid 80s that released like The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. And, they got labeled the Brat Pack. And a lot of people felt like that, like cut them off at the knees. It's like, you're too young for this success. You don't deserve this yet.
Mhm.
Right. And so you can have an ego and an entitlement that you bring to the table, but you just talked about how your business is also like humbling you. So there's a like kind of like a dichotomous thing happening there where it's like you can go too far, right, on one side and be like, yo, like, where's my money? And be egocentric, or you can, almost feel limited by society because they want to define that space that apparently some people are supposed to live in and say, hey, stay in your place, it's not your time yet. And for my question for you is like, what gave you like the courage? Like I think it's kind of brave to be like doing what you're doing at your age. There's obviously some very important risk involved here, and I think you have to like know, you have to have a shrewdness and a wisdom to know how to like navigate that risk without like personally imploding emotionally, mentally, like sustaining like the challenges of business, because God knows there's a lot of those. And also just like handling a lot of money and other people's money. So like my question for you is, what do you feel like have been some of the like growing curves or like learning curves or growing pains in this process that have really helped advance you as a person? Because you didn't just become this guy overnight, right? So could you speak to that for a second?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And I appreciate you asking that. So I guess to understand you clearly, you wanna how did I decide to make the jump into doing what I'm doing, into having a store, into doing more buybacks? That's
Well, I think what Matt's asking is like,
yeah.
dude, you act like you're 30, but you're 19. Like, am I on the right track there, Matt? Like, you
For
you,
sure.
you grew up around the teen, or you taught the teenagers. You saw how they acted. Brandon acts completely different, and what led to that?
Mm,
Yeah. What would you say are the contributing factors to the quality of the human you are, but also have to be to
yeah,
sustain a six-figure business and have your own employees at the age of 19?
yeah, yeah. No, to be honest, when I look around at other people my age and who aren't achieving what I think they should be achieving financially,
Mhm.
they they really lack they one for sure they lack self-awareness. And
Mm,
even if they have self-awareness, they lack accountability. Like
mm,
whenever I make a mistake or something happens in my business, generally speaking, like in 99% of situations, I'm gonna get mad and I'm gonna probably blame my employee, right? But
mm,
at the end of the day, I know that's my fault because this is my business. So no matter
mm,
how stupid this employee or how I think or how I feel this employee is at the time, no matter how much money this person has screwed me over, no matter how how scamming and how deceitful this FedEx worker is being right now, and how I think he's stealing X amount of money from me. At the end of the day, it's my fault. I'm the reason. I'm the guy who went to that FedEx. I'm the guy who didn't do the due diligence and hire the right employee. I'm the guy who didn't spend enough time on YouTube
mm,
researching how to pay taxes. And if I'd done that, maybe the IRS wouldn't be coming after me. Like, I think it's about having that accountability and it's not like it's just not about being only self-aware because everyone will tell you they have problems and everyone
mm.
acknowledges their problems. Like if you ask someone who's 300 pounds how to lose weight, they know what it is.
Yeah.
Eat less calories and hit the gym, right? It's not
Eat
it's
more,
not
eat
hard,
less.
it's not rocket. Yeah. The information is out there. Like it's never been easier to be where you want to be financially and health wise. Um, it's just the vast majority of people, and sometimes this is even me, they're not willing to take accountability. So
Okay.
I think I take much more accountability, I think, than the people around me or the people that I've
Mhm,
seen around my age that aren't where they want to be.
mhm.
Uh, I think you probably have to have some sort of like obsessive disorder, or not disorder, but some sort of obsessive personality, you know,
I
to
mean,
be
Yeah.
no,
willing,
I can speak to that. Like,
yeah,
you,
like eight,
you,
10
I
hours a
think
day
in
on one
business,
thing.
exactly, yeah. Like like to do what I do with what I do, like teaching isn't for the faint of heart. Like it is hard. Like trying to get somebody to get the same success that you had is very difficult. I realize that it's much easier for me to just go out and kill it than to help somebody else kill it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so many more factors at play, right? Like I can go out and I can do the thing because I've done it thousands of times at this point. And like I'm going to a pawn shop here at 2 o'clock and I'm gonna kill it, like
Yeah.
easy money, right? But that's just because I put in the time and all of that stuff. But I really like what you said there. You're taking accountability, and I think a lot of people just don't do that. And the fact where it sounded like very Hormozy there, it's like everything is my fault. I'm the owner. Like everything is my fault, and that
Yeah.
it's true. Like when you're the business owner, literally everything is your fault. Everything is your problem. That person that screwed up, that employee that screwed up and did the wrong thing, you hired him. You know,
Yeah.
so I think
So
Hormozy came out with a quote the other day. He's like, if you feel like you hired stupid people, you better look at yourself because you're probably stupid. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's good.
yeah. So to that, to the last thing that you were saying then, Brandon, which sorry, let me kind of come back to that quick sort of soundbite there and what you were saying. Like extreme ownership is massive. Like it's hugely important, and it's like, as you grow up, you're going to find like as a one day husband, probably a father, and so on and so forth. That's it's going to serve you incredibly well. But regarding the nature of the drive, like the ambition, like what's turning the gears down there? Because here's what I think is interesting. All right, you talk about like reselling stuff in middle school. My dad, I had a big winter coat, right, and I would take that winter coat and walk the hallways of middle school. And when I'd sit down in class, people didn't realize that I'd filled the pockets with candy. Okay, and I saw demand, right? People were getting hungry before lunch because lunch was like close to 1 p.m. Why would you do that to middle schoolers, right?
Oh my
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was selling like boxes of nerds for like a quarter, like the little ones, and like rolls of sprees for like a dime and stuff. And I was walking away like with like $9 to $11 a day as a seventh grader. And this is something that I've never even thought about until like a few years back, you know what I mean? But like the itch to want to do something like that, to be a prospecting individual, to see needs and meet customer demands felt kind of natural and fluid. But at that time, I just wanted to make some money, right? So I know that for me, that was like a driving element. Clearly, that was a driving element for you. But what else would you say was kind of under the hood there? Just kind of propelling you and like pushing you forward to find out how to cultivate your own space and build a business. Like what's your drivers?
I think I think if I'm being entirely honest with myself, it's probably stemming from some sort of insecurity, some sort of feel that I'm not good enough, or if I can't go out and get that girl because I don't have enough money. Um, like bro, we were so poor when we came, like,
Mm.
and now obviously I'm still grateful for everything that I have. I always had a roof over my head, luckily, but like it's not really fun to go to a school and have ripped shoes or have a shirt that can't be washed because there's no power, just like a bunch of these other just little annoying things. um
And
that
were those things you experienced as a kid?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Oh, that's education enough, isn't it? Like it, that the level of challenge and just to be dead honest, like personal embarrassment or shame or guilt that people feel as a consequence of those things, that can drive a man for the rest of his life.
yeah, no, exactly, exactly. And I never wanted to be in that position again. um
Mm.
so yeah, if I'm being entirely honest, probably some sort of insecurity. I mean, I remember every time I get dropped off to school, we always had the worst car in the parking lot, and it by a mile. You know, always had the worst shoes, worst clothes. And when I look at my actions now, every time I walk into a parking lot, I usually have the nicest car.
Mm.
I'm usually wearing the most expensive shoes. So I think it's just this feeling of like wanting wanting to be accepted and not wanting to be that, that boy in the classroom that was made fun of for not having the, the shoes or the car or being poor.
What kind of car are you driving?
Yeah.
I have a Model Y right now. Performance, yeah.
Oh, nice, dude. Awesome.
Hell
Love those. I love Teslas.
yeah.
No,
But
I think the narrative behind the man is always a really important thing, right? Because it's more than just a job. It's more than just a hustle, and it's more than just money. There's always something there that is really like turning those gears, to propel you forward. So I appreciate, as personal as that was, I really appreciate you sharing that with me, Chris, and everybody that will hear this, because I know that speaks the language to a lot of people. It really does.
so,
Yeah.
Brandon, how long are you going to be in this business, man?
Um, Man, I just want to stay as long as possible, let everything compound, you
Yeah,
know?
let it all compound, right? Build up
Yeah,
those beats. Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
man. That's the thing I love. So it's funny. Like I like you were talking about earlier. I saw this business as a stepping stone for a long time, and I even taught people to treat it that way for a while. But then what I realized, like after a while, I was just like I started realizing like how many repeat customers I started getting, like, and then how many of my repeat customers my students started getting. And I was just like, bro, like this is like what you just said. This thing is compounding year after year after year that you do it. Aaron Goldstein has a quote around this. He's like, the longer you're in this business, the better it gets. You
Hmm.
know, it, I mean, what would you say? Like, this business probably compounds by 30-40% a year, like easily, if not double, you know? Um, I mean, you're well over six figures. You're probably going to do, I mean, I'm not going to say the numbers unless you want to, but you're going to do a lot, like on your way to $500,000 within that, probably the next, what, 2 years? And that's net profit,
Probably
right?
this year, hopefully, yeah.
Oh, this year? Okay, well, there you go. Nice.
Let's go. Let's go, man.
Um, that's where it's at, you know? And then, imagine just compounding that for the next 10 years and then exit,
Yeah.
and then, you'll have your resale deck stuff and all the emails and the phone numbers, and you'll be able to sell that to somebody else along with the store
True
for
that.
a hefty amount. Because that's what a lot of people don't realize. You were one of the first people that ever got on resale deck. I think you were number 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't realize with this business. Like, the money is in the phone numbers and the emails. That is where the money is at. And then also the recurring business that you get every single month, right? So, like 5-6 years from now, you'll be able to cash out for hefty amount. I know, there was a guy in Austin. He was one of my mentors who had a buyback business. All he bought was like iCloud and like damaged stuff too. Like, you guys, Matt Senka.
That's awesome.
He ran Buyback Hub, and he cashed it out, dude. He sold that company, like, made good amount of money as well. But he was in the business for 12 years,
Yeah.
built up a couple $1 million company per year.
Yeah.
Just off of that niche alone was just broken and iCloud and whatever, like, it's
Yeah.
amazing to do.
That's cool. It's evidence that Ferraris just don't happen. It takes time to build something that is a performance machine.
Yeah.
It's an articulate, well-crafted process. And I think that's something interesting about entrepreneurship is like there are intangibles, and then there's like the data and like the real stuff. But like I think some of the things that interest me the most are usually like the intangibles. It's like, okay, cool, we could look at KPIs, we could look at, overall revenue and P&L, right? But like what are the things that actually like make those things like real, right? Because for me, a lot of times those are the things. It's like, if I had to put it in like a more recent perspective, like how is it possible, and people can agree or disagree on this point, that the Boston Celtics beat the Dallas Mavericks in the most recent finals, when I think I watched a quick clip online of pretty much every sports broadcaster ever saying, "Oh yeah, well, clearly the Mavs are going to win because they have Doncic and they have Kyrie Irving, and they're just going to like blow the Celtics out of the water." But the Celtics had a lot of intangibles there that didn't show up on the score sheet that a lot of people discredited. And sure enough, they're champions. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum had played in over 107 playoff games together. Like, that's a lot of failure being that close to a trophy and still coming back to like for another taste. There's some intangibles at work there. And I feel days of that. Chris and I were talking about this like a couple weeks back, like where we were just like, bro, I want to wake up and flip stuff, bro. Like I don't want to make listings on eBay right now, dude. I just like, can I just coach or can I just flip? Do I have to try to help other people flip? Do I need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's been many times where I'm just like, screw the coaching, dude. I'm just gonna flip stuff. Like it's sometimes it's like 10 times easier, right? Like a lot of people think in the coaching space, it's like, or in the mentorship space, it's like all just money. And I'm like, dude, there is so much on the back end. You have no idea. Like, but Brandon's computer is about to die, so we'll wrap up here. But
oh, okay.
Brandon, is there for the people that watch this, dude, and I know, you know, you've gone through a lot of our content and, you know, I've helped you in your stuff. Is there anything you'd like to tell the people that are watching this that might be, you know, just getting started in this industry? Like, what would you tell those guys?
I would say stay consistent. Stay consistent and understand the fundamentals of why this business works and how you can make it work for you. Keep your expenses low and understand this is a 3 to 5 year journey. This isn't a lot of people pitch that this how to make X amount in 60 days, how to become this in 1 year. You know, no, this is a 3 to 5 year journey. Stay consistent, reinvest the majority of the money that you make, and focus on understanding the fundamentals. Understand marketing, understand lead generation, understand that, you know, you're not going to go from 0 to 20K a month in 3 months. And if you do, just understand that that's not really going to be sustainable. You're going to get burnt out. You need to have systems and procedures in place. You need to have employees who can invoice. You need to have VAs who can handle the sales. You can't do everything. You can't be a one-man team, you know.
You can be a one-man team up until about 12 to 15K a month. At that point, you have to hire. Like,
then you're just tired.
Yeah, I've been like, so Jackson, one of our guys, just hit like 15,000. He just hired his first negotiator, right? And like, he's like, dude, this is so much easier now because you can be a one-man show and be consistent with it up until about that 15,000 profit per month area. But you'll like, and I've seen that before myself. It's like you'll start losing it, like, because you'll just wake up and you're just like, I can't, like, so you need to get somebody that can.
Adapt. Yeah. But just understand the 3 to 5 year plan. And like you said, you know, you can do things up until that, you know, I think you said 12 to 5K a month range, but you're going to get burnt out. You know, if you try and do that consistently, you need to have a team behind you. And, you know, you have Matt, so Matt can always cover for you if you're feeling, you know.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I got a great team. So these guys always cover for me. Not that it's necessary all the time, but well, dude, appreciate you having you on, dude. We'll have to do this again. You know, kudos to your, you know, massive year you got coming up. So super excited about that. And at such a young age, it's insane, man. So lots of learning ahead of you, my man. And looking forward to the next one when we're, you know, interviewing you at 1 million.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. Hopefully we can do this later in the year, like around Q4. I'd love to show you guys the numbers that we're doing then and, you know, how I've adapted from now, you know.
Yeah, man.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Cool. Thank y'all for your time.
Hey, appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
So.